up, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan visit the border to deliver their signature love and care for Syrian refugees. Tainan City Traditional Orchestra joins a special concert for handicapped children to help them appreciate music. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Marilee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. With Syria in the Middle East in chaos, the neighboring country, Jordan, has been impacted deeply by the unrest. Currently, tens of thousands of refugees have put serious strain on the UN and the Jordanian government. Tzu Chi volunteers have been making regular visits to refugee camps and offering daily necessities to help ease the suffering of the displaced people. Recently, volunteers made another visit to the Jordanian border to deliver some care.
Carrying relief goods, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan face a familiar scene en route to a refugee camp. Despite the sandstorms, the volunteers continue their journey. These volunteers are coming to meet 100 Syrian children under the care of UNICEF.
Asking them, check, do you have a school bag?
With their new backpacks raised high over their heads, these children express their happiness despite lacking textbooks and a classroom. Outside the tent, many Syrian refugees, some of whom are here illegally, are growing restless. Amidst the howling winds and pelting sands, volunteers remain steadfast and do what they can to help these refugees by distributing water and daily necessities. They all hope these refugees will overcome this difficult time.
Continuing our reports on refugees displaced by the Syrian conflict, Tzu Chi's instant rice from Taiwan has arrived in Serbia last Friday after making a demonstration to the staff of the Commission for Refugees and Migration. 393 portions of the food were served to refugees at a camp in Sid over the weekend.
A van carrying Tzu Chi's instant rice slowly pulls up to a refugee camp in Serbia. Standing by, Tzu Chi volunteers work to unload the van, while some show the staff of Commission for Refugees and Migration on how to prepare the rice. "20 minutes later, the marinara-flavored instant rice can finally be served with an orange per person. This young man says the food reminds him of his mother. He especially made a smiley face out of his orange to show his appreciation. Respecting the religious practice of some refugees, a special batch of rice was prepared without cabbage. Regardless, the food was emptied quickly. Due to the closing of borders between countries in the Balkan Peninsula, currently refugees in Serbia have nowhere to go. Earlier in the month, the camp in Sid saw the coming and going of 500 to 600 refugees a day. Now, without the arrival of new refugees, the camp has become emptier. However, this also means that Tzu Chi volunteers can spend more time to interact with the refugees and their children, so they know they are not forgotten."
Still in Serbia, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to provide needed assistance to refugees in various ways. At the refugee center in Sid, the volunteers led the children in song and dance to have some fun. Meanwhile, another group of volunteers introduced Tzu Chi to refugees in Principovac and asked them to write down their wishes on cards in hopes they can embrace the future with optimism.
Bathed in sunshine, the children at the refugee center sing and dance with the guidance of a group of Tzu Chi volunteers. Despite not knowing the Chinese lyrics, the children still beam with smiles. Having been through treacherous journeys, they finally enjoy a moment of innocence and fun.
"The activities you planned are very meaningful, especially for the children. They had a great time."
Meanwhile, another group of volunteers introduced Tzu Chi to refugees at the shelter for refugees in Principovac. Despite being on a journey, with the assistance of volunteers, the refugees are finally able to share some joy at a joy celebration for those born in March.
I have learned much today, including giving, patience, love, and hope. The difficult days are over.
Then the volunteers invite everyone to write their wishes on cards, hoping these wishes will one day be fulfilled.
I wrote down that I hope God can protect all from the atrocities of war. I hope my family can be safe.
In addition, after going through inspection, instant rice from Taiwan has also arrived at the refugee camp in Sid. The volunteers will be warming the refugees' stomachs and heart with the instant rice and their love.
Love can create a ripple effect of kindness, and such is the case in Tacloban of the Philippines. Back in 2013, Typhoon Haiyan devastated the area, leading to the deaths of 6,300 people. Tzu Chi volunteers have since been helping the disaster victims in Tacloban rebuild their lives. 2.5 years later, many residents have joined Tzu Chi's volunteer training, ready to pay the love forward.
Master Zheng Yan.
In Tacloban, the first volunteer training class begins with a lesson on the Chinese characters for Tzu Chi.
Tzu Chi originated from Dalawang characters.
Tzu Chi comprises of two Chinese characters. The first Chinese character, Tzu, represents compassion. Ji means relief. In Tzu Chi, compassion is the motivation behind all actions.
In the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, Tzu Chi has become the most well-known organization in Tacloban. With the help of Tzu Chi, the residents restored their life back to normal. Now they are ready to turn from receivers to someone who reaches out to those in need.
I had an idea about Tzu Chi. Now I have decided to become a Tzu Chi volunteer because they have helped me and many other people. I have been inspired, and it is time for me to do something.
It takes time to see how the cycle of compassion can carry, but for these volunteers in training, they already look forward to be on the giving end.
Moving our camera to Myanmar, a flood devastated Tai Ki of Yangon in July and August of last year. Since then, Tzu Chi volunteers have been distributing rice seeds as well as extending emergency aid and long-term aid. To reciprocate Tzu Chi's kindness, many farmers have joined Tzu Chi's volunteer training. Let's take a look at a most recent volunteer training session.
In the second Tzu Chi volunteer training class held for farmers in Tai Ki, the 36 participants watched the master's teachings attentively, with the help of a volunteer's translation. In addition to lessons, the attendees also learned about the beauty of Tzu Chi's culture through a sign language song, The Spirit of Great Love. Meanwhile, a group of kitchen volunteers are busy preparing lunch for everyone at a temple that is about a 50-minute ride away.
Our affinity for compassion has brought us all together, and everyone is like a family. Complementing each other, we're closer than real sisters. One by one, we invite each other to join Tzu Chi. We take on different tasks with one mind, gathering everyone's strength.
Cooking outdoors is nothing like cooking at home. However, the volunteers do not mind the hard work. They only hope the farmers who are undergoing training can feel their love.
I do not feel tired, but I sweat and have a runny nose because of the smoke. I use a gas stove at home and have never cooked for so many people. Nevertheless, I feel very joyful just seeing everyone enjoy their meals.
We met each other through Tzu Chi and are very close. Everyone is sincere and honest.
As the training class draws to a close, the farmers donate the rice they saved up, hoping their love can also reach others in need, creating a cycle of compassion.
Some 200 volunteers from Taiwan's Yunlin, Jiayi, and Tainan have come together at a gathering to learn how they can help more people access the contents of DaAi TV and therefore purify their spirits. Executives and producers from DaAi television station were also invited to speak at the event.
As how people watch TV has changed, DaAi TV has made its content available online, so people can tune in via their smartphone. At this gathering for Tzu Chi volunteers in southwestern Taiwan, participants learn how they can help spread the message.
When I volunteer at a Jingsi Books and Cafe in the future, I can help promote our humanitarian spirit so that more people can learn about Tzu Chi's humanity mission.
It's a crazy world out there, and we have to keep people well informed.
DaAi TV's programs do not promote conflicts nor criticisms and are suitable for a whole family to enjoy together. The some 200 volunteers here are hoping they can do their part to help as well.
The Tzu Chi Foundation is truly committed to charity. We hope there will be no more misunderstandings, as Tzu Chi is always here.
The volunteers hope through watching DaAi TV, people will learn to share their love with those in need, and in the process, enrich their own life as well.
To help disabled children appreciate the beauty and power of music, a special concert called the Music Feast of Love was organized in Tainan, Taiwan. Here, parents of these children won't have to worry about their children acting up and disrupting the performance, for all the musicians came prepared to share their love and what they know. This renowned classic tune called Horse Racing has captured the audience, who are families with disabled children in this auditorium in Tainan. In fact, this is their first concert experience.
我觉得那个音乐很好听，因为很感动。
音乐好不好听？好听。
I really enjoyed the music. This is the first concert for us, as we usually are worried about attending a formal event.
Afraid that their children might not be able to sit still and interrupt a performance due to their condition, these families normally don't dare to attend a concert. A concert coordinator who also has a disabled child knows the problem well.
就是坐火车。
Sometimes when my child acts up involuntarily when riding on a train, other passengers will say, "Why can't you keep your child under control?"
To the performers, commotions beneath the stage do distract them. However, the Tainan City Traditional Orchestra is happy to take on the challenge today.
This is a break from what we are used to. By doing something different, I think this will be stimulating to us all as well.
With the participation of more musicians, hopefully the Music Fest of Love can be held regularly so that more handicapped people can get to enjoy the beauty of music. One of the bands performing at the Music Feast of Love in Tainan was the band The Face of Light. The band, formed in 2010, is made up of visually impaired musicians, including Tzu Chi volunteer Huang Xinghui. However, life of a musician is never easy, especially if they are already handicapped. We now hear from Huang and see how she has turned her life around with music. An instrument has to be properly tuned so even a practice session can go smoothly. Huang Xinghui plays many traditional instruments and can even sing. Born with amblyopia, a vision impairment, the 39-year-old has always been passionate about music. When she couldn't read score sheets, she listened to recordings repeatedly to memorize the tune. However, her vision impairment suddenly worsened 8 years ago. Unable to work, her life had hit rock bottom.
I'm a single parent with a child to raise, so I asked myself, is this how I'm really going to live the rest of my life? Then Zhou Zhiying said, let's start a band.
Thus, a group of visually impaired musicians banded together to form the Face of Light. At first, though, Huang still couldn't make enough to make ends meet.
I said to myself that if I continue to wallow like this, I'll be ashamed to see Mr. Zheng Yan again. I told myself that no matter how hard things get, I'll hold on and persevere.
Also a Tzu Chi volunteer, Huang was supported by her Dharma family. With her bandmates working as one, now the band not only performs on the streets, but has also been invited to perform at numerous special events.
Because she's handicapped, she can better empathize with others and is more nurturing. I think that is something that really impresses us.
Supporting her bandmates while promoting her band, Huang wants people to know that the visually impaired can do more than just being a masseuse. With music in her life, she is living with confidence. After facing numerous rejections and overcoming the 2008 to 2009 financial downturn in the Malaysian film industry, director Tzu Chi was recently lauded as the People's Director and is responsible for films that attract millions of viewers. The famous director recently made a visit to a Jingsi Books and Cafe location in Phuket, Bintan, to give a talk about his life's success and to encourage others to pursue their dreams.
Malaysian director Tzu Chi, who is responsible for numerous hit films, recently accepted an invitation to come give a talk at a Jingsi Books and Cafe location in Bukit Bintang.
The local Chinese films produced before performed poorly at the box office, and people didn't believe the industry will ever make a comeback. I did try to go find investors, and one said, if I were to invest $250,000 in your film, I might as well just spend it on LV bags, because at least I will have a whole truck of LV bags.
With blockbuster films featuring classic plot lines, Tzu's films have made millions of ticket sales. But the director says the path to realizing his dreams has not been easy. He says, although life can be cruel at times, he still encourages everyone to be brave in chasing their dreams.
When you really put your heart into doing something, if you really apply the whole of your ability to get something going, you will influence the people around you. You can apply the same creative spirit from different angles. Like now, I want to talk positively about things, in hopes that I can steer some personal reflection in each of you, and then you can find some inner motivation to apply your own creativity. This is what I really hope to do today.
Mr. Tzu Chi, affectionately known as the People's Director, has successfully inspired positivity and hope in each of the 90 people in the audience today.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Selangor are providing assistance to one elderly woman named Chia Moi Kia. Her husband passed away 17 years ago, leaving her alone to take care of her children. Volunteers discovered that she was living in squalid conditions, both clutter throughout her house as well as a yard overgrown with weeds. 30 volunteers helped her get her house and yard in order.
This house in Selangor, Malaysia, is full of garbage, and the yard is similarly unkempt, with weeds growing unchecked. This is the home of Tzu Chi recipient Chia Moi Kia, and 30 volunteers have come to clean it up thoroughly today. Repairs were also made to the home's electric sockets and fluorescent bulbs as to improve the quality of life for Chia and her son.
Before she had to rely on rainwater, we talked to the landlord about installing running water here. So we got an extension from the neighbor's pipe. The tap water actually comes from next door.
While some volunteers clean up the garbage, others work on the courtyard. The enthusiasm of the team has even impressed local officials.
We welcome such cooperation. I think this will have a beneficial effect. It could also be expanded to other places. We can give a list of others who want help, along with those who are willing to help.
The influence of Tzu Chi has inspired all the villagers to band together to complete this important task. This required us to work as a team instead of individuals.
It's easy to do this as a team. If you are just one person, it's really impossible to do this.
30 volunteers spent a total of 7 hours to clean Miss Chia's house. They hope improving her living environment can also lift her spirits.
In Malaysia, the Tzu Chi Stroke Support Group moved their monthly meeting to a local park for the first time. This change of scenery helps give both patients and those family members taking care of them a chance to get some fresh air, as well as a reason to get some exercise. At the event, a team of doctors also taught stroke patients some rehabilitation exercises, while family members of stroke patients got a chance to exchange their stories of heartache and laughter with one another. For the first time, the Tzu Chi Stroke Support Group in Malaysia moves their monthly gathering outside for the patients and family members to get some fresh air.
Taking in some fresh air and beautiful scenery helps them. This event gives the patients more room to get some exercise.
With over 40 people's participation and the joyful company of one another, the worries of their illness or family troubles are temporarily set aside.
接触到很多人哦。
By coming in contact with different people, we're exposed to others' point of view, and our mind and thinking are then broadened.
思想也是会开朗了咯。
在家里就很闷了咯。
It's boring staying at home each day, just reading the newspaper or watching TV. It's best to take a walk outside.
Among the participants is Lim Guiqing, who is taking care of her father full-time after he suffered a stroke. The many years of helping with his rehabilitation have been difficult on her, but Lim knows that familial love and care is sure to help her father's recovery.
I think this is a great event for family members, as we can vent our frustration to someone who can relate. We often find that we're going through the same thing and then encourage each other.
The monthly gathering where stroke patients' family members encourage one another to stay strong on this path of recovery ends on a happy note, as all look forward to the next event. Next, we'll meet Huang Taizhen of Hualien, Taiwan. Mr. Huang runs his own noodle restaurant, but he is also an instructor with the Taiwan Toy Library Association, who teaches classes on reusing recyclable materials to make creative toys. He recently visited Tzu Chi University in Hualien to teach everyone about his do-it-yourself toy-making methods. A group of volunteer students from SC Love were also present, and they said they were eager to take what they had learned with them to Sichuan, China during the summer.
Just pass the rope through like this. Don't leave too much hanging out, just a little is fine. Then do it again and again.
Mr. Huang explains the process carefully to the class. Now he is explaining how to recycle PET bottles and using simple tools turn them into spinning tops.
Normally, we just go and buy toys, but if I can teach him about the kinds of toys I played with when I was young, and also teach him about reusing and recycling, then I think it can be really meaningful and educational.
Volunteer students from SC Love includes high school and university students. They are especially focused on the task because they hope to take what they have learned and share it when they visit Sichuan this summer vacation.
In Sichuan, the recycling rate and awareness of the environment is low. So we would like to use this kind of activity to teach people about how we shouldn't just throw things out carelessly. This is a good way to make toys for kids that can also teach a lesson and get them interested in the environmental protection.
Combining science with fun in a way even children can enjoy, the volunteers also teach everyone a priceless lesson about wastefulness and recycling.
In Malaysia, the students from Pingming Chinese Elementary School recently took a field trip to the local Jingsi Hall and learned about the plight of the Syrian refugee children. Counting their blessings in life, the students generously donated some money to help the less fortunate. We will leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.